JT is in the house. Great to see you, pal.
It's good to see you too.
So give us the big announcement. That's what we're waiting for. Ta-da.
Well, ta-da! You know, the Hyde Park show that we were scheduled to play this summer past, we've rescheduled, and it's Sunday, 11th of July, featuring guests Nile Rodgers and Chic and Grace Jones. It's the 40th anniversary show of the band. That will now be the 41st anniversary show of the band. It represents all the optimism and conviction and belief in a positive future that Duran Duran can summon up, and you know, the organizers of the event. So, you know, we're feeling good about it. We're not about to put any of our fans in jeopardy in any way, and we're going to be monitoring all the changes, you know, but we're hopeful that by August, you know, the British live music scene will have gotten itself into a place where it can enjoy a show like this one.
Oh, well, let's hope so. I mean, I feel really fortunate. I've seen you play live so many times, and out here, downtown LA, all over the place. Duran Duran are just one of the best bands live.
Thank you. Well, we've got some good songs, you know, we've got songs that people like to hear, and we live to play. So it's a good formula. You know, it's been the whole lockdown thing. And, you know, and particularly, you know, being in America as we are, you know, and being witness to the divisiveness, you know, the politics here, and to some degree in the UK as well. You know, I was, you know, it was sad that music didn't get to happen this year. You know, if ever there was a time that people needed to be standing together, you know, it was this year. But, you know, we've made it. And, you know, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that. It's the thing I'm most proud of being in a band for, actually, is that when I look out there and I just see everybody, it's like Quality Street, it's Licorice All Sorts, you know, it's everybody, just music lovers of the world unite, you know, and I love being a part of that.
No, you just, as always, look ridiculously ridiculous, as you always do.
Ridiculously ridiculous.
You do. It's just like
I work hard on that.
Ridiculously handsome you'll be, you know. but what you actually were affected by COVID as well, from a serious point of view.
Yeah, I was working in London at the end of February, and we went into lockdown. Just before they shut the airports, I got back to Los Angeles, which was where my family were. I got in under the wire, and literally fell sick almost right away. And you know, maybe I got it on the plane. I don't know. And you know, and I had a couple of days. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was a mild case. I had a couple of days where I remember thinking I could not play tonight. You know, I mean. It's been a long time since I've had to cancel a gig. You know, usually I can get there with a sort of combination of, you know, Advil and Diet Coke. But I thought for a couple of days there, I was like, I couldn't play. I couldn't play tonight. But, you know, I saw a doctor, and by the time I actually got my diagnosis, because at that time tests were running like 10 days, I think it took. And honestly, by the time I got my diagnosis, I'd seen it through, you know, I was at the end of it. So that took a lot of the fear out for me. You know, I just kind of knuckled down and sort of tried to make the best of, you know, not getting to travel, or, you know, not getting to work, which was, you know, I mean, there were upshots, you know, there's always some silver lining to be found.
I love the fact you're still so rock and roll, Advil and Diet Coke.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. That'll get you there.
And so you got to spend though time with the missus as well, so that was nice.
Amazing. I mean, like we spend 6 months of our lives apart from each other, whether I'm on the road or whether I'm working in the studio with the band, which is almost always in London. And, you know, we spend half of our lives going, what are we doing? You know, why aren't you here? And so it has been nice, I have to say, you know, just to like, you know, one day after another to really, you know, get to know each other. And actually all of our kids, my wife's got 2 children and I've got a daughter, and they all kind of came back to Los Angeles in the lockdown. So, you know, we were all sort of within the same, you know, within walking distance of each other for the first time in years. So that was nice.
Oh. Now, of course, the gig coming up at Hyde Park next year, you mentioned one of the special guests, Grace Jones.
Yeah.
So immediately my mind goes to, as I'm sure you does, because one thing we do share, apart from the obvious looks, is the absolute love of James Bond. And of course, one of the best theme songs ever, View to a Kill. And of course, Grace was in the movie. So it's all back round again.
Well, you know, Grace, I mean, you know, whenever we're together as a band, and if we're in a car on the way to a show or on the way to the airport or whatever, and there's music, you know, and somebody will say, well, what do we want to hear? You know, and always the one artist that we can all agree on that we all want to hear is Grace Jones. I mean, when Duran were getting together at the start of the 80s, I mean, her work around night clubbing and Pull Up to the Bumper was just seminal. And, you know, we got to know her, you know, we've hung out with her. We've gotten to appreciate her awesomeness. And she performed with the Duran offshoot Arcadia. She actually sang on election day. So, you know, maybe we can get her up on stage to do that with us, which would be super exciting. Yeah, I mean, really, it's an extraordinary thing to have her and Niall. I mean, we've played a lot with Niall and she, you know, and our fraternal, you know, we go back a long way and we've played together quite a lot. But this is really special to have these guys playing with us on this day, which is, you know, it's very special. I mean, we're kind of two minds whether we really want to celebrate a 40th anniversary. You know, it's one of those, you know, it's like after like the 21st anniversary, you're like, do we really want to, you know, celebrate this? But, you know, there it is, you know, it's happening. So, you know, it's an anniversary and we're celebrating.
Brilliant. Just a quick one about Bond. Who would you like to see as the new James Bond? Any people in mind?
Oh man, that's there's this English actor. He's from Derbyshire, and he was in Godless. I forget his name, but
Tom Hardy.
No, but he'd be great.
Yeah.
No, I forget his name. But you know, there are so many great British actors out there, young British actors. I'm sure they're going to find somebody exciting.
Did you ever audition for Bond?
No.
Would you have?
No. That's above my pay grade, man. No.
Oh, Jack O'Connell is who you're thinking of.
Jack O'Connell, yeah, that's it. I think he'd be awesome.
Good choice. Getting back to being on stage as well, and again, I've seen you guys so many times, apart from all the hits, and then you do a couple of amazing covers. White Lines, your cover of White Lines is better than the original.
No. Thanks for that, but no. The original is music history. But it's a fun song to play live every night.
Yeah.
And you know, we did a covers album in the beginning of the 90s, and yeah, it's a real mixed bag of stuff, I have to say. But White Lines has proved to be the most durable, and it's the one that you know, that we come back to. It's become a stage. It brings the house down. Yeah. It's a very, very exciting song to play.
Yeah, exciting times out here now. You're a dual citizen, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's been your take? Because it's been madness, hasn't it? I mean, throw in COVID.
Exhausting. It's been really exhausting, and it's, you know, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm pretty centrist, you know, but I was just disappointed over and over and over again that the outgoing president, you know, wasn't really rising to the moment and really acting in a unifying way, which I felt that was, you know, I mean, I felt I could have written something for him to say at some point that would have just brought everybody together. So, you know, I'm not unhappy with the way things are going, to say the least.
Have you learned any new skills during lockdown?
I've been painting a lot, which is not new because I went to art college as a kid, but I picked the brush back up, and I've really been loving that. You know, I've been taking piano lessons for a couple of years now, and you know, I could never read music. You know, everything was by ear, and so I've kind of, you know, I've been doing more of that lately. New skills. I mean, my dishwashing, drying has definitely gone up. You know, I mean, you know, I think my husbandry skills in general have gone up. I think they've had to. I think, like everybody, every married couple I know, we've either become better at being married or we're separated. You know, it's really been a testing time for relationships. This.
I mean, it's an incredible thing as well when you think of the band, as you're saying, 41 years on. I mean, that's longer than most people's marriages. Has it seemed like a marriage at times with a bunch of
Well,
guys?
it's more like a brotherhood. You know,
Right.
it's more like a brotherhood. I mean, I'm an only child, as is Nick. You
Mm.
know, Nick and I formed the band. So we became brothers. And then, you know, Simon, Roger, Andy, you know, we became this brotherhood. And I think, you know, they're the nearest thing that I have to siblings today, you know, and they're siblings that are partners. So it's tricky, but thankfully we don't have to go to bed with each other, you know, enjoy, you know, that's one area that we don't have to get involved with each other.
And when you're on stage, is it now just like telepathy between you all?
There's a tremendous understanding between us, and there's, you know, and it's really what we love to do. I mean, Nile Rodgers has a great quote. He says, "We don't get paid to play. Playing we do for free. We get paid to travel and be away from our homes and go through all the bits in between the stage time." I think, you know, for me, since I was a kid going to see, you know, other artists, that moment where the lights go down and the show takes over, that is the magical moment for me. And, you know, I've come to see it in later life as that's the bit where all the BS stops and this force takes over this show, you know. And in our case, it's like we just bring this 40 years of Duran Duran music to the room. It's our room. And yeah, and it's just something that we do well, you know. And it's always nice to go back to doing what you do well, you know. I mean, especially as you get older and you try on, like you said, you know, you're trying on new things, you know, and it's quite difficult as you get old, you know, to take on new, you know, to learning new tricks. So when you go back to doing something that you kind of know you do well, and you kind of give each other the wink and you say, yeah, we're good at this, aren't we? You know, you know, let's enjoy it, you know.
Yeah. So I remember speaking with Gary Barlow, and because most bands now wear in-ear monitors, he just says that moment when he puts them in and he knows for the next couple of hours, no one can get anywhere near him other than that pure moment. Exactly.
It is. It's quite magical, and I think for some of us, that's why we do it. You know, I think you know, artists like ourselves, you know, they're divided. You know, some live for the stage, some live for the studio, and in our band we have a balance. You know, and some of us are all about the studio. Me, I'm all about stage. I'm all about that moment where, you know, where we're entertaining, we're communicating, you know, and we're making this presentation. And, you know, and even if the stage is only 6 foot high off the floor, then, you know, I'm slightly higher off the floor than you are. But, you know, but, you know, I acknowledge that, you know, in order to do that, you know, you've got to keep, you know, you've got to write, you know, you've got to generate material, or else it gets tired, you know, and we've managed to keep that going. You know, we're just about wrapping up an album of new material now that we're hoping will be out in time for the show. So
that's what I was going to say. Is that what keeps it fresh? Because it's, I mean, apart from doing gajillion hits, but new stuff.
Yeah, I think it's important, and I think the artists that are the most durable that are out there, like the Stones and like Bowie was, and U2, I think they appreciate that even if their audience really wants to hear, you know, certain songs, for us on stage, if there's 2 or 3 new songs that we kind of still have to really pay attention to play, then they fuel the older songs, you know, and it keeps the whole thing fresh. So yeah, it is important to have a couple of new songs in there.
Right. Well, it's brilliant to see you as always. Congratulations on all the success. Brilliant to know that hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will be back there August at Hyde Park, and I'm sure after this, what will actually be next?
Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, if you know, if the world starts coming back like we hope it will, then, you know, we'll get to take this show, you know, around the world, which is something that we like to do. As I said, there's a new album that I'm hoping will be out late spring, early summer. You know, and we'll get behind that as we always do, and you know, just stay healthy. You know, that's the thing, healthy and present.
Great advice. I'll let you go because I'm sure you've got some dishwashing or dish drying to do.
Thanks, Ross. Cheers.
Good to see you. Thanks, John. Congrats.